List. I'm your host, DJ
You're welcome.
Flores. As always, with me, my trusted coach and advisor, Coach Stacy B. Coach, what a week. What a show Tuesday. Johnny was, again, it was so fun to have him on again. So, Johnny, thank you. Shout out for joining us this week. We got to dive a little more into the nuts and bolts of kind of the fun things that could go on. What did you get from it, Coach? I got nothing but excitement, obviously. Just thinking of all the ways that it could really eliminate some of those non-frog like events.
Yeah, non-frog. I like that. There are Johnny. He brings it when he's on. Man, that was good stuff, and um, it it kind of opens your mind that maybe the possibilities with this are a lot greater than what we think. Because every time we talk, it's like, oh wait, that's a pretty good idea. Oh, I didn't think about that. And so it's like every time we talk, it just opens up some new avenue of using some of these AI tools and some of the things that he talks about. And then yesterday, I was working with a client, and what she's responsible for is automation and data analytics.
No
And I
kidding.
was like, oh man, have I got something to tell you? So, but it's
Well,
something that it's something. These are things that everybody deals with. You know, you're trying to figure out if you have a problem that is repeating itself in your business over and over and over again, and you're just banging your head on a wall. Odds are there's a system or a process that's broken. It's not the person. It's probably a system or a process. And if we can find a way to automate that and automate it in a way that was not requiring so much of human intervention, so that there's even more chances to enter an error or something into the system, that's even better. But man, there's just so many things and so many ways that this could be utilized. It's exciting. It's
it,
exciting, and I still say it's a little bit scary because I saw the Terminator.
yeah, I've seen iRobot. I know what could happen, but yeah, to your point, and I'm glad you said it is exciting, and it really is. And to hear Johnny and you, I mean, you nailed it. He really does when he gets in the zone, and he is, and you can tell. I mean, you can tell his passion of it because
Yeah, you
once
you can see
it's
it on
like
his face.
yeah, it's like a switch. It just boom. I mean, he goes from like this nervous to okay, this is my wheelhouse, and I think that's what we need to focus on more as people. Like, don't worry about your weaknesses as much. Like, what do you really enjoy? What is your passion, and run with it. Um,
Yeah, so anybody, if you watch the replay of either one of the last two where we had him on, all of a sudden you'll see this like all-knowing smile creep at the corner of his mouth, and he's on to something that's going to be gold. You could just see the whole facial expression change. It's pretty cool.
oh yes, I agree. Oh man, we got to talk about that more. But we are going to get this started, y'all. We'll talk more about that. The subtle things that coach is mentioning and noticing. These are things, y'all. These are the personalized things that we're talking about. That's the human stuff. What Johnny talked about is you're not going to catch that subtle, slow, smile or that eyes light up like, oh, I know what to say on this. You don't get that. So, but yeah, you nailed it. And I want to get into that more. Let's get started, y'all.
You get one heartbeat song. Take it seriously. This is your masterpiece. Don't forget to dream and taste the colors in the air you breathe. It's your masterpiece. Go ahead and feel it all. Don't stop till it is beautiful. Don't stop till it is beautiful. Don't stop till it is beautiful.
Oh man. All right, let's get right into it because coach, you led it right up to where yesterday had an experience. We talked a lot about this AI, a lot about speed to lead, how quickly you respond. They're wanting that. I got real life experience of this, y'all. First example at Senate Termite and Pest Control. A client went to yesterday and visited. He said he was giving us a shot no matter what because we were the first ones to respond. Now
Yeah.
let me plant the seed for how this works, y'all. So where Senate currently is getting their leads, our home advisor Angie, where a lot of home services are currently going for their leads, costly leads. They want to make sure, but again, if you all don't know how home advisor, Angie, that kind of stuff, like they're selling them to multiple companies, and that's why you get blasted with a ton of phone calls all at once. But it's really, and it seems to trickle for days and days. But just like this customer yesterday, he said, "You guys were the first to respond. I'm giving you a shot, even though a company called before you." So here's where he leads to. A company called before you, they didn't feel it was important enough. These are his words. They didn't feel important enough for them to send somebody out like you guys did. So I'm already leaning toward you guys to begin with. You also were the first ones to respond and get back to me. So I wanted to give you guys a shot. That's literally what he said. So right there, anybody in sales, okay, first impression, you as a team, as everybody, you pat yourself on the back. You nailed it. But that's where the AI, where the stuff like Johnny is using, where that can help you. Maybe you don't have a great call center or quick response team like we do here at Senate. This is where AI. Maybe you don't have a call center at all. Maybe you are the call center along with everything else that you have to do. I know how that works.
This is the call center.
Exactly. And so it was just crazy to like have that real life experience and have him say all that. And it was like, wow, I can't wait to talk about this tomorrow on the podcast. Because it was really that, again, it was genuine experience. He did go with us. We were actually cheaper than they were, with the option that they pitched over the phone. He didn't like that option because, again, anybody who's doing this game, you can't just pitch over the phone the cheapest option to either get in the door or just get the business, because usually you lose there. So if you're trying to sell that way, don't do it. So sorry, y'all.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. No bait and switch.
no bait and switch. And yeah, so we gave him the better solution. He liked that better, and so he ended up paying more than he would have with them. But again, it's he was happy. He actually invited me to. He's starting to do stand up. So shout out to Peter. Thank you. He's starting to do stand up. Former Navy guy. Thank you for his service. But yeah, he's starting to do improv stand up. He invited me to the last show. I was like, oh, thank you. So we'll see.
Well, it's a good I'm glad you made a good impression, or you'd have made it into the act. You never wanna make it into his act.
No, yeah, no, I don't want to be the joke. Maybe he'll be telling the
No,
jokes about that other company.
right.
um, but
That's exactly right.
but yeah, so there was, and so you nailed it with that the beginning and the speed to lead. I mean, this is again, that is what everybody wants right now is, and so I want to get more into that, Coach. With all the things that AI can do, from all the examples and use cases Johnny talked about, speed to lead should be the first one that we really should all be focused on. Is if you don't have a quick response or a system already set up to to respond faster than anybody else, you're losing. And so, I guess, Coach, what did you get from Johnny that you think can help with that speed to lead?
Well, I mean, there's obviously several different tools he has, from the voice AI to just other ways of routing information and
Yeah.
getting information to the client. So there's several different ways, but it kind of comes down to, how you do anything is how you do everything, and so we have to be very careful. Those first impressions really matter. And when you look at surveys and studies of clients, and these are clients that were reasonably happy, they had no problems, they wouldn't rate you down, but for whatever reason, they didn't go back to the same business a second time.
Mm,
And when you kind of dig into the numbers, the number one reason they didn't is they felt an indifference. And so if that indifference is felt at the very beginning, it's kind of hard to overcome. And a lack of a quick response can come across as, well, they must not need me. And then once you meet them, you can try to overcome it. But that first impression is really important. So whatever method you use, if it's your cell phone or if it's some type of a tool that Johnny can provide, it just has to be tailored so that it comes across. It needs to be quick. It needs to be precise, and And when I say precise, be careful because we're going to go from scripts. But if it's AI or you talking, we want it to sound as natural as it can.
Yeah.
But it's just got to make that good first impression that you care.
Yeah.
If it comes that all you're doing is you just want their money, or if it comes across that really it doesn't matter one way or the other, good luck. And a slow response can give that feeling.
And I'm glad you said that because I think in the end, that's the greatest way. Anybody who has a business out there, anybody who has client list, client base, you're working with clients in any way or form. If you, the way to check how your process is currently running is how much repeat business are you getting. If they're going to you, maybe it was just a quick solution, they liked it, and it just fit for that time. But if they never came back, then something happened there. Either you lost them in the follow up, or you let them kind of wander out there in the wild. And I think that's so crazy because, again, our existing customers, especially if you give them the experience you should be giving them as a business, as a premium service, uh, they should be. They should be coming back to you for what else can you help them with? What else can you guys
And
do?
and in some ways, it's better to make a mistake than it is to just be an indifferent average service that you're
Mm,
providing and contacts that you're making. Because the other statistics will tell you that if you do make a mistake in your service of the client and you go back and fix it appropriately, um, they're more likely to come back, more likely to refer because you've built a relationship by helping them through the problem. And so, even if you make a mistake, you've got that's a great opportunity to go in and show what you can really do. But if you're just kind of blah all the way through and you're slow to respond and you're not answering their questions in a timely manner once they've become your client, then you're losing that battle big time.
yes. Again, I love to any new salespeople. If you're new to sales, you want inside tips to sales. Treat sales like dating. It really is the easiest way to associate it. But it's again, if you find somebody you're super male or female, whoever's dating, you find somebody you're interested in, what they instantly become like top priority. Everything you do is you're thinking of them first. Everything again, and how important they are to you, kind of you show that throughout your whole transaction. The customer should be no different. I mean, you want to show them how important they are. Think of it like that. Is this the next best dating clients here, and then treat them that way and show them how much you care. You talked about caring and about relationships. It's funny to hear Johnny twice, guys. This is somebody in AI. You see his passion for AI, but he's talking about relationships. Now, those for a lot of worlds kind of butt heads. AI, most people think, well, that's just a computer to do everything for me, so I don't need to talk to anybody. And what John is saying, and what really AI is for, is don't waste your precious time, because again, time is our most valuable currency, y'all. That's time is we're trading time or energy for money, for people liking us, for whatever we're getting from that, or maybe we're just wasting it. And we're going to get into that too. Uh, Plugging Eat That Frog, but we are going to be talking a little bit about prioritizing and time management and Eat That Frog. So we will get into a little bit more of that. But again, I think it really comes down to that. Basing relationships on the value and what you're giving in the moment is going to give, it's going to tell everything. Your customers, how they respond, if they're coming back, your return business, your referral business, those things all play off of that. Who wouldn't want? Do you anybody out there? I'll throw this, and if you catch this later, if you're catching this live, would you rather a referral, warm lead from an existing customer who's super happy with their experience, or a home advisor or Angie lead that went to maybe you're racing 5 or 6 different companies, and hopefully you're the first one like we were yesterday. But what if you aren't? Um, what would you like, Coach? What would you like?
I want to be first.
When you want a referral lead, you would rather a referral lead, right? A warm,
Yeah.
warm lead, somebody who's
I want a warm lead. I don't want a cold call, man.
yeah, I don't want a cold call at all. Neither do I. And
I want to be the first thing that comes to their mind. I want a network of, and this is a line from his name is Deming, last name, but the book was The Brand Who Cried Wolf. He says what we're trying to do is create a network of evangelists that evangelize on behalf of you and your business. I want to be first in their minds, first on the tip of their tongue. When somebody says what I do, I want them to say, I know somebody. Let me hook you up.
You know how to, and I'm glad you talked about networking, because I'm going to plug BNI and networking a little bit for y'all. But the power of what Coach just said, and if you guys you want your customers to have that feeling that Coach had talked about, um, do something for them that benefits you in no way, and have them clearly know that. And that's the power of BNI. When I go to leads, I'm showing up right now. I'm showing up for termite pest, whatever. It could be some sort of unwanted guest that they no longer want in their home. And so I'm going for that. But really, then at the end, I'm saying every time, and shout out to a guy from BNI that I learned this from. But hey, I actually work with a group of individuals, small business owners here in the area. Is there anything else you need help with? Just that one simple thing. They're like, hold on. Why are you helping? You can do other. No, this is not me. This is people that I know, like, and trust. That if there's anything that they can help you with, I want to just help you. Really. And
Yeah, let me
and now
connect you.
now you're their tool. Now you're their go-to for everything and anything. And I've used that ever since being in BNI. And let me tell you, it's an amazing way to really just seal that. Again, anybody, if you're in sales and you're going in and you're working for a sales company that's telling you that, and I've worked for so many that are telling you false untruths. We make this product and you don't. It's white labeled by somebody else, and there's all kinds of, you're the only one who has this and you don't. If they're saying stuff like that, again, don't stick with that, and don't fall for the trap that you're a bad salesperson because you're not forcing people to buy lies. Just tell the truth. But you got to go in really wanting to help them in any way, and knowing that you have a solution that you believe in. And if they have the problem and your solution is the right fix, now you make the sale. But
Yeah, do more than what you're paid to do.
yes, yeah, do more. Yeah, yes.
So the first off, the dating reference threw me for a loop, so that's still rolling in my head. I haven't been in the dating pool since 1980s, so I don't even know what that means to be in a dating pool.
I hear
But
you.
back to the relationships for just a second. A lot of folks today will try to tell you that with the advent of AI and all the different marketing tools and things that are available to us on social media and everywhere else, that relationship selling is old school, it's passe, it's dead. It really it really isn't. Especially not if you want to build a relationship that's going to give you a raving fan, that's going to tell people about you, and that's going to come back. If all you want to be is a transaction, then sure. But if you want to be an actual benefit, if you want to build something that's going to last for a long time, you've got to be more than a transaction.
Mm.
And that relationship selling still works, and it's still a very, very, very important way to build your business.
I honestly, this is just my opinion, but I believe that's what's the big change that we're experiencing today. I think we're seeing it go back to that. I think the businesses that are going to strive, again, shout out to David Perez, but the businesses that strive today and this coming future of this new world we are living in are the ones who are strong to their opinions, regardless of who they might not agree with or disagree with. Again, it's okay if we don't agree on the same things. It doesn't mean I don't like you or I hate you or I don't have to do business with you because we don't agree on the same things. But uh, it's it's being strong on those convictions, on what you believe, and who is building relationships. I think that's who wins in the future. You want to be a brand. You want to have a business that's thriving in this new world. Build on relationships. I think that's the future.
Yeah, and even if you're selling something, selling an actual product, because, well, that's just a transaction. Well, I don't know. Think about the companies, the ones that built their reputation, like Zappos and some of the others that would go over and above with the service they provided, with putting little add-ons into the product that you bought, that spent time actually talking to you when you called in. Um, That's how they were able to sell for a ton to Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Because they built a business model that was something that nobody else was doing, even though they were just selling a product and not a service. And so you may be thinking, well, my product is a transaction. Well, is it?
Is it?
Can it be more? Can you build something faster, better, with just a little extra effort, and just try to think a little differently, maybe?
When I like that you said you went to Zappos. That was just shoes, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's just shoes, and that's where I think you're gonna win in the future too. Don't make everybody your customer. Alex Ramosi does a great job of painting this picture for you, but don't make everybody your. If you're, and again, a lot of businesses can say that, oh, everybody's my customer. That's where you're failing. No, find an exact customer that you want. What is the avatar? What is the specific customer that your business wants? And focus solely on that and just hyper focus. And then that's how Zappos did. That's how Chipotle is. Again, they only do burritos, only doing Mexican food. They don't have a whole huge menu. It's one thing, but do it one thing and do it better than everybody else. And that's what'll let you win. So,
yeah.
um,
So my ideal client, obviously, we talk a lot about franchising. So I made franchisees, and within a range from startup to about 3 to 5 million was kind of where my wheelhouse was, because that's where I'd been. But through the networking and working with them, I've also worked with lawyers. I've worked with sales executives. I've worked with C-level folks in multiple types of industries, and but all of that came from building onto my ideal client. It wasn't that I was out trying to market and change my message. It was just they preached on my behalf, and then I was able to move along.
yeah. And well, and so since we're talking about it, Coach, let's get to focal points. So we do want to highlight and just plug out to everybody, anybody watching this. If you're watching this now, watching this before October 4th, free event. Join. It's Eat That Frog webinar. If you all haven't read the book, Coach showed it. We'll have Coach show it again. But again, Brian Tracy. This is Brian Tracy event. It's on October 4th, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. It's free to join, and let me tell you, this is one of the books that when I took to heart Mobile University, Zig Ziglar, and there's the book right there. Eat That Frog. This is one of the books that after going from Zig led me right to Brian Tracy. And this was actually one of the first books I read of Brian Tracy, and it was his ABCDE method of just time management, importance, principles, prioritizing what you need to do. And that's really what the basis of the book is Eat That Frog. Do the hardest thing first. The hardest call you have of the day that you typically push off, do it first. Whatever's going to move you more towards your goal, that's where you're prioritizing with the A, B, D, C. And again, that changed my life. That was one thing that when anybody who's working for themselves, anybody who's working from home, if you're in a 1099 sales job, you feel like you're on an island, and it's kind of like being back in college. You have to discipline yourself. You have to create the schedule. You have to time block. You have to be very specific and intentional. Otherwise, you end up either doing a lot of this on the phone, or a lot of this in front of the TV, and time gets wasted. And so that was one of my biggest fails, and I guess environmental lessons, or hard things to get through. But once I learned to eat that frog and just put the hardest things first, I'll tell you, it's what it did for me. At least the brain trick it did for me was when I did that hard thing first, whatever I wasn't looking forward to that next day, and I did it first, I felt so much more like accomplished, so much more like free, like a weight was just lifted off of me, regardless of the outcome. It was like, well, at least this is done. Like it's done. And so that is for anybody. I guess again, if you're a procrastinator, if you struggle to stay focused on time, eat that frog. I'm gonna put it up there again. This is another one of the October 4th. Don't miss us. Don't miss it. Eat that frog. We will be there. I'll be there. I can't wait to kind of catch it. I think it's gonna be fun.
It's going to be fun. And so Brian Tracy founded Focal Point, and one of the differences in the way I coach and the way Focal Point coaches coach is we're curriculum based coaching model. We deal with clarity, we deal with leadership, we deal with growth, but a lot of it starts with clarity. And if you want to get better at figuring out where's my time going, Eat That Frog is a wonderful resource to help you with that. And it begins right in the very first chapter with helping you get some clarity around the things that you have to do, want to do, need to do, and how you can categorize and then prioritize properly what you need to do. But I mean, you were talking, prioritization and the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle.
Yeah.
We know that if you've got 10 things to do, if you prioritize properly, if you just do the first two, you've got 80% done of what needs to be done for your day.
Yep.
And so it's really important. But the first thing that's on your list is that one that it's going to take longer. It's going to probably involve something you don't love doing. It's going to be the hard one. And that's why he refers to it as a frog. And so, as you mentioned Zig Ziglar, he used to say, if you got a frog to eat first thing in the morning, don't look at that sucker too long.
Yes. just
The longer you look at it, it gets slimier, it gets worse,
Yeah.
it gets bigger. And so that's kind of the same thing here. Just
Yeah.
get up, work on what's important. And so if you've got 10 things to do, and I ask this question when I'm in front of large groups, I say, so you do your first one, you're feeling really good about yourself. What's the very next thing you do? And everybody says, you start doing number two. And it's like, no, you prioritize again, because what if something now is more important? What I want you to always think is I've always got to be working on what is the most important thing I should be working on right now. So one of my former business partners, and I have a ton of respect for her, name is Nicole Ossenfort. And when we used to travel together, I would do interviews in front of large groups of people on stage, and I would interview her and ask her questions. And when I said one of the things I love to ask everyone is, what are you reading?
Yeah.
And what is the most impactful book that really meant something to you? And she would always go to Eat That Frog. And the story that she said about herself is that what she started doing after reading the book is throughout the day, she would have an alarm that would go off periodically. And what that alarm would do is it would remind her to say, is what I'm working on right now the most important thing I should be working on for the business? And if it's not, then she would delegate it, eliminate it, but whatever way, she would start doing what she needed to do.
I love
But
that.
it was from learning from Brian Tracy and Eat That Frog. And the great thing about this is he's going to go on himself, which is kind of cool to get to hear from him. He's been around for so long, so it's going to be really good to hear directly from him. But he's also going to do a Q&A.
Really?
And so you'll have a chance to throw in some questions and things for him as well. So that'll be pretty cool. But the book itself is 21 different tips of how to manage your time better. And so it's almost like, it's kind of, we were talking, well, I was talking, it was another client I was talking to. We're talking about Marcus Aurelius and the meditations.
Yep.
And how you can just open
That's
the
what I'm
book to
reading
any
right now.
page. You can open the book to any page and find some really gold in it, right, for what you're reading. Eat That Frog is the same way. It's not a read it from cover to cover.
Yes. Yeah.
21 different things that you can do. So you can just open it up to something, and it's like a quick 5 or 10 minutes that you can spend on it, and you can get something out of it. So it's a nice resource too.
And I love that you brought that up, because yes, that was one of the things. So first off, you took me back to, I think, 12 years ago, maybe 14 years ago, when I did first read that book. But it was Zig Ziglar, and I heard him in it. Whatever I was listening to said exactly what you said, and I was like, okay, I have to read that book, because I'd heard of the book from Zig, and then he said exactly, okay, I have to read that book. And that was what made me read that book, was him saying exactly what you said. So thank you for that. But that was one of the things I loved about that book. It's one of those books, y'all, if you ever seen any other book like it, that just has little tools in it. And like Coach said, it's not something that you have to read from front to back, and like it's a long story, but it's little, almost tools like the ABCDE method, and other tools like that, to help you just see what works. And that was what I did, was instead of trying all of them, if you do that, don't do that. Just try one, plug it in, and see how you respond. Follow your data, follow, what you're doing daily, follow Nicole's thing. I'm going to add that. That's amazing. And I think that's a great little tool, guys. If you didn't catch what Coach said about that, I have little reminders in my call blocks that pop up still. I don't have actual call blocks anymore, but they still pop up for east, west, north, this, that, all different time blocks. I'll probably switch those to that reminder of, hey, am I working on the most important thing that I should? And again, I think we need that. And I think we need that for a lot of reasons. I think one, there's been this big push from a lot of people that you got to work, 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 work. You wake up and you're working and you're working. No, you're gonna burn out. You're gonna fail. It is a recipe for failure every time. Like, you need to know when to rest. You need to know when to stop. You need to know when to take breaks. But you also need those little reminders, because if you don't have them, you get stuck in some wheel or some cog in the journey every time, I feel like. So yeah, I thank you for that. But
If
Nicole, shout out.
if
Great, cool.
anybody watching, if you're in the accounting, bookkeeping type of service, she's a fantastic coach in that arena, and she has a program, Bookkeepers Ignite, IG Ignite. And so, anybody that wants more information, just hit us up, and we'll share Nicole's information out with you too. Maybe we can get her on as a guest one day.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I think that would
one
be a
of the
great
things,
idea.
one of the things in the book, it just the tip that stood out to me. I am a world-renowned, very accomplished procrastinator, and I can get lost real
Say
easy 'cause
guilty.
everything's interesting. So the Google rabbit hole is always a threat. There's always something catching my attention, and one of the tips in the book is to you schedule. Creative procrastination. So you inject procrastination in like little small 10-15 minute blocks into your schedule. That's a time of the day where you can feel free to do something that may not mean anything. Maybe it means go take a walk. Maybe it means doom
Maybe it
scroll.
means just scroll, because I,
Yeah.
I have that. That was one of the things I learned. Shout out Dan, but on sales, I don't know if it was Dan or somebody we had on the show, but I was always time blocking an hour, because that's what they first teach you. Then somebody we had on as a guest or something was like, do 45 minutes. It's been proven that 45-minute stretch is like the most you can go at a time. So time blocking. And so what I still do is the hour, but that last 15 is my waste time, my rest, let me get my mind right for whatever's next on this list that I have to do.
Recharge. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you start to learn your own rhythm too. So when you're looking at your
Mhm.
schedule, you know when you're at your best from a thinking standpoint. You know when you're drained. Some people are better in the evening. I'm much better in the morning. So in the morning, my block schedule includes a lot of where I would call deep work. That means I'm
Mhm.
creatives. I'm working on speeches and that sort of thing. And then my regular work time is coaching engagements and things like that. And light work, I have 15-minute blocks every once in a while. That's just light work, and that's email
Yeah.
and things that I don't want to be doing that mess when I need to be thinking more deeply. And so you can use these kind of tips to schedule. And once you have clarity on what you're trying to do and clarity on yourself, it's really impactful. It can make a huge difference. Yeah, and
Again, guys.
there's the
Again,
link.
guys, yeah, what we're talking about is right here. Eat That Frog webinar event. It's going to be live. You can, if you got your phone out, if you want to take a screenshot, you can use that QR code. That'll go right to the link to register. No lengthy. They don't ask you for a bunch of information. It's your name, your email address. That's all. That's all it takes. That's all it's going to take from you. And you're registered. But again, I think it's going to be huge. If you find yourself as one of those people like me and Coach were just talking about, that is a procrastinator, which most of us are. I'm guilty of that too. That's why I have had to go to strategies like the ABDC, Eat That Frog. Now I use the Zig Ziglar planner, which again prioritizes everything very similar to what Brian Tracy does here with the book. But so yeah, please again register for the event. We'd love to see you there. I know Coach will be there. I'll be there. It'll be fun. It's going to be a really good experience. And I'm just excited, honestly, to get to see Brian Tracy live talk. I'm mostly listening to up until this point either audio books or YouTube videos. So it'll be fun to just see him live
It's hard to
and
beat. It's hard to
Q&A.
beat free, fun, and informative.
Can't beat it. Can't beat it, y'all. So Coach did put it in the here. We'll put this up. It is in the chat as well now, everybody. So be sure and check it out. I'll throw it up again. So you'll see it in the chat. There is the link. So again, click the link, register if you're interested. If you feel like you do get stuck wasting time, you feel like you struggle eating that frog, click the link, get registered. Promise you won't be disappointed. It definitely changed my life. So thank you for sharing that also, Coach. So I guess to wrap up, so again, Johnny AI, Big Tech, reach out to him. Just give him a call. Let him just go through your processes and see what he can help take off, eliminate. Maybe there's some things he fall in the E category of the ABCDE method, and it needs to eliminate it or delegate stuff you can delegate. So
And if you,
again,
if you talk to him, and he's the kind of guy, if you talk to him and there's not a fit there, he's going to tell you. He's not just going to put something out there just to put something out there. So
yes.
he's a trustworthy, honest guy.
Yes, yeah, and thank you for saying that, Coach. And yeah, if you guys didn't see it when he was live with us, he's going to tell you. He's going to tell you what's going to work, what's not going to work, and he's very very straight up, honest, and that's what we like. What we like most about him, honestly. He's going to tell you the truth, and he's going to give you ways that are going to help really just make you more human and work on those relationships. So. Again, reach out to Johnny.
If you say something that he knows for a fact, he's got a good solution. You're going to see that little smile start in the corner, and then he's going to tell you.
Yeah, start taking notes. You know you got something good then.
There's some gold coming at that point.
There is some gold. So just want to really prep for next week. Again, this week was great. It was a quick week really for me here. I don't know if y'all are feeling that way too. But the weather's been kind of crappy.
Quicker, man. That's how time works. They just get quicker the older you get. Then they're flying.
Oh, it's so fast. It is so fast. I can't believe it's Thursday. So again, Thursday, y'all. Thank you for joining us. Next week we do have Daniela and Tony Bianchi of House Doctors. They're actually a part of the premium service brands. Can't wait to have them on. Met them actually BNI. So shout out BNI again, but met them at BNI in Ohio before I moved to VB, and super amazing people. They were actually starting House Doctors as I was starting Flow Resale. So we kind of got to share that experience together. Again, they came and checked out my place. I love what they do because it's my background. So really can't wait to get into it. Again, House Doctors, it's a handyman service. So if you're sick of calling those big companies because your job's too small. Oh, we're not going to send somebody out for that. Oh, they're quoting you some ridiculous price because I'll tell you, inside trick, guys. The jobs the big companies don't want to do, they just quote you super ridiculously high, so you don't do it.
And if you do it, they make bank.
Yes, so be careful. And for those jobs, so if you're hearing from these big service providers that job is too small, look for House Doctors or handyman services like that. They are out there. But yeah, House Doctors is where you're going to want to go. They'll take care of you.
You tapped into your inner Joe Biden with the whisper in there. Come on, man.
I love it, Coach. All right, well, on that, my mind is not going to be like Joe Biden. No, you planted this. I got to put this out there now. I can't even drop it. Joe Rogan had it just on the Joe Rogan podcast. I know you all know that. But he just had a guest on there, and I forget who it was, but he said, "Did you see the tweet recently from Donald Trump Jr.?" He said, and the tweet said, Joe Biden's mind is like a web page where there's 17, a web browser where there's 17 pages up, and the music's playing, and he can't tell where the music's coming from. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's terrible, but so funny. But yeah, so shout out Joe. But on that, we are going to end now. And thank you all. Coach, any final thoughts?
I have a lot of them, but I don't want to take us down any further than we are.
Yeah, we're not going. We're not going down.
That was fun enough. Let's call it a quit there.
Yeah, we'll stop there. So again, next Tuesday, y'all, 2 p.m. House Doctors. Make sure and check us out. Daniela And Tony will be live with us here on Robinhood Capitalist. Can't wait to really get through their first year of experience. They have a lot of success stories. One thing, and I'm going to just plug this actually, since we're talking about it, because they've done an amazing job, and I really want to talk a lot about it on there. So one thing that Premium Service Brands does is they have a Kids Lift program, they call it, where they're focusing on helping the next generation and helping kids. And Danielle and Tony actually, in just their short time of being with Premium Service Brands and House Doctor, actually won an award for that, for being one of the top people involved in the Kids Lift program. So we'll talk about Kids
anybody
Lift.
watching, DJ, anybody watching that's either new to being in business or considering going into business for the first time, I think their background's going to really speak to you.
Absolutely. Yeah. They both corporate background. Tony was corporate sales, Daniela corporate marketing. So both big, strong corporate background, first time business owners with House Doctors. They're killing it. They'll tell you how to do it right. I can't wait to have them on next week. So until next week, y'all, the Robinhood Capitalist, FJB, we are out.
I'm always on the red eye. This time around, it's not even about getting paid. I'm just an